all that you need. A place where you can bring your whole family. Much entertainment and creativity. Great food, great drinks, it's just the place you should be. We are the birthplace of Eisenhower. Need a place for fun, then look no more. Just meet me on Main, 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 meet me on Main. Just meet me on Main, meet me on Main, meet me on Main, meet me on Main. Meet me on Main, meet me on Main, meet me on Main. You can meet me on Main.
Hello, everyone. I'm Donna Dow, the Main Street Director for the City of Denison, and this is Rachel Van Buskirk, the owner of the Deviled Egg Company. And I want to tell you that we are doing our newest version of the Essence of Downtown podcast. And today we're going to talk about the Deviled Egg Co. And
Hi, guys.
So Rachel's she's the proprietor, I guess you could say.
Yep. Founded the company back in 2017.
So tell us about how about if we start before that with your background?
Yep. So I have been in food and beverage for over 20 years now. I started working at a small breakfast diner in Omaha, Nebraska when I was 14 years old. And, from there I did everything from bus tables to host and then served, and then eventually got a job bartending at another place, and just slowly moved up and worked every position that you essentially could work in a bar or a restaurant. And then in 2015, I joined the culinary program in Omaha, because it was at that point that my husband and I were thinking about purchasing an existing business there, and I knew nothing about running a kitchen. I'd been passionate about food, my whole career, but I really like to focus on the mixology side of things. And so, it's interesting now looking back, like I'd never saw myself, growing a company that was solely food based and leaving all the alcohol behind. But well, not technically, but anyway, so I ended up going to culinary school in 2015, and and since then I've been for a couple of years was kind of figuring out what I was going to do with all of this knowledge and experience. And before Deviled Egg Company, I'd been approached and worked with different partnerships and consulted on a few projects where I started to kind of get my feet wet and build the confidence that I needed to do something on my own. And so here we are.
So you started it in Omaha.
I did, yeah.
Tell us about that, the beginnings of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I started, the obsession began in 2016, kind of end of 2016. It was in 2017 that I was running a little dive bar in Omaha, and there was no kitchen there, but I had to build up business on Sundays. It was hurting. So my boss was like, figure it out. And so I started making these really elaborate brunches, and we would have like the same 10 guys. It was like cheers. They'd come in, they'd order their doers at like 10 in the morning, and sit there all day and talk about how great things used to be. So I started making these really elaborate brunches, and they loved it. And they told their wife and their friends, and, a week, after like a month, I had 20 people, and then it was 30. And then I had a line out the door before I'd open. And so I guess how the Deviled Egg Co. came from that. I was always making deviled eggs for everybody because it was something inexpensive. Eggs were cheap at the time. Little did I know things were going to change the way they did. But so I would make deviled eggs and all these elaborate other dishes. Well, the problem was as my customer base grew, my budget stayed the same. So I had like $60 to feed 60 people. And, I was struggling to figure out what I was going to do. And this particular Sunday, I was going to do like a taco bar. And I thought, I can make a lot of deviled eggs. If I could just do deviled eggs, I'd be fine. And then I thought, well, why don't I just do taco flavored deviled eggs? I can do that. And so I did this elaborate spread. I did like 200 deviled eggs, and I put them all on these platters and everything. And I set it all up. And I was kind of nervous because my regulars, they had really high expectations. I had been doing these very over the top, culinary school. I had the catering background. And so they were getting spoiled rotten. And they show up and they're like, what the heck is this? Like, this is not a taco bar. Like, what? And so I'm like, just try it, because I knew they tasted good. And they'd never seen a deviled egg that way. They're like, what? You want me to eat this as a meal? I'm like, yes, just try it. Like, you guys eat 10 of them every time you come in. Like, have it as a meal. And I had this one regular, his name was Wilson, and he was probably in his mid 70s, and he kind of had that, like, that saggy, like, bulldog look, and he never smiled, he was just kind of always cranky. And he was a big foodie, so we always talked food. And he gets his little, like, flimsy paper plate, and he loads it up with like 9 or 10 deviled eggs, and he just, like, sets it on the bar, and he's just pissed. And I'm like, try it, it's gonna be good, I promise. I get him his doers, and he starts eating them. And they're all at the bar. The bar kind of gets silent because all the guys are sitting down and, like, trying their eggs, and no one's really saying anything. And Wilson reaches into his pocket and slowly pulls out a cell phone, which, just so you know, like, nobody knew Wilson owned a cell phone. We've never seen him use one. This thing was literally from, like, 1995. Like, he pulled an antenna up. This was 2017. Like, we had iPhones. He flips it down and he just starts dialing, and everyone's like, looking at him like, Wilson, you got a phone? Like, he was saving it for World War III. I'm telling you, like, that's the only reason he had this. And so he dials and he's like, Dave, yeah, no, you got to get down here. You're never going to believe this. These deviled eggs. And he's, like, talking to some guy named Dave I've never met. And I've known him for a year and a half. I've been serving him every day. I don't know who Dave is. And he's going on and on about how he's never had a deviled egg like this before. And these are guys that have been all over the world. They've seen everything. They've done it all. They're the ones preaching to me about how the world, they know everything. And one by one, they were all just, like, mind blown, and they couldn't believe it, that they've never had a deviled egg any other way. And they're doing the same things that now I see at our restaurant. Is like, it's such a inspiration if you're someone who's creative or you're a foodie, because it's so fun to, like, go down another avenue of something totally unique. And I think it's really, at that moment, it kind of gave me that same feeling it did when I could make a cocktail taste just like something special, or, like, that would resonate with somebody, or be this nostalgic thing that was, I don't know, their grandma's pie or something like that. And so they're all talking, and they all are having all these ideas, and they're, like, talking about how they just love them, and their wives never make them, and they can only get them, during the holidays and all this. And I'm like, there's something to this. Like, there has to be something here, because I've got all these people, from all over and all walks of life, all agreeing that this is something that everybody wants and no one wants to make. And so I'm like, that day I started Googling, and I'm like, deviled egg businesses, deviled egg stores, deviled egg restaurants, deviled egg companies. I mean, nothing. There was like 10 recipes that would pop up from the most, Food Network top chefs or whatever. And they were all like, add some bacon on top. Like, there was nothing like what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so that was when the obsession started. And so what I did was, they loved them. And so I was like, okay, what if next Sunday I make more flavors? So I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Woo. They're telling their friends, and they were all excited about it. And so what I did was I continued each Sunday to make a couple different flavors, like 2 or 3 different ones. And then we would do a focus group. So I would have them fill out these sheets. They'd tell me, what they liked, what they didn't. Is it too salty? What would you pay for it? And I kind of started to at that point, build a business, which, and if I knew then what I know now, I mean, there's so many other things I would have done early on, but yeah, so I did that for about a month and a half. And then that September, I filed the LLC while we were on a plane. My husband and I were on a plane to one of my good friends' weddings in Arizona. The night before, I had a customer come in and said that they wanted to cater like 200 eggs for a party, and they needed them the next morning. And I had to work at the bar till 2. And so my husband goes to the store, he gets all the eggs. And at the time, this is my first real order, so we're doing it out of my kitchen at home. And I stayed up all night, made all the eggs, halved them. I mean, we didn't have recipes figured out. I just kind of did it all. And then we delivered them and went straight to the airport. And while we were on the plane, I was like, we have something. And my husband's like, yeah, maybe, he's used to me having crazy ideas all the time, and, like, didn't know how serious I was. And then literally, by the time we landed, I had filed the LLC. And in a couple weeks, I had rented a small kitchen. It was like a dive bar's kitchen, which probably would have been safer to make them at my house. But there are, like, city requirements. And so we ended up renting this kind of rundown kitchen. And then for Thanksgiving, we had 2,500 eggs ordered. And then we did 5,000 for Christmas, and that was 2017. And it just, I don't know, it just became this obsession. And business. And then it wasn't really until 2020 that I got serious with it. So just things happened. We had just been married. We weren't in a financial position to go all in. And I ended up partnering. It was between 17 and 2020 that I had taken on a few partnerships and really gotten my feet wet on like what ownership is going to feel like, look like, with the support of partners. And then decided when the world shut down in 2020 that I was tired of, building a dream for other people. And I was confident enough to like move forward and do my own thing. And so got that little tiny food trailer you see back there. We got that, got it wrapped, and then started doing events in fall and winter and spring of 2020 and 2021, which is not the best time to have been doing any events because no one was going out of their houses. But even with, the lack of, I don't know, customer engagement or lack of people really wanting to leave their homes at the time, it still showed that there was a big enough demand there that we decided we should find a store. And so we found a little space in Omaha and opened the first Deviled Egg Company store in November on National Deviled Egg Day of 2021. So yeah.
What better day?
I know. I was like, that was my goal. And that was getting that CO was crazy. But yeah, so that's where it all started.
And so you had family down here in Texas.
Yep.
And I would assume that's what drew you to Texas.
Yep. So my family, majority of them kind of all migrated here. But over, I don't know, the last 15 years. And so I was running things in Omaha, and we had kind of been structuring and planning to either franchise or grow the stores corporately with a much smaller to-go model, which is what we're now doing in Texas. And that worked out great. I'm so glad we're down here just for expansion purposes. But yeah, so in 2021, we opened the restaurant. We got our second food truck in spring of 22. And then right in fall of 23, we were about to launch nationwide shipping. And then during this whole time, my family's begging me to come down here. They're like, just open another store in Texas. It'll be fine. Move down. I'm like, I don't know. They're, of course, talking about all the, amazing things that are coming to Denison and all the city support. And they were totally right on all that. It's been a really great experience. But so we're kind of gearing up, and I ended up getting diagnosed with breast cancer in fall of 22. So it was like a month before our 1-year anniversary there. And so kind of plans shifted, a lot of things, halted. And so the shipping got kind of put on hold, and it was more of like survival mode for everybody, for myself, for the business. My husband and I kind of had to pull back how much time and energy we were putting into the store because there was only, if you've ever been there, I'm sure everybody here knows somebody who's either gone through cancer or been through those kind of treatments. It'll wipe you out. And so that was October or August, I guess, through May of 23. So during that time, it was just a lot of, it just changes your perspective on life and everything. Right. And the most important people to me are my family. And so, instead of focusing in Omaha, we decided we got about 1.5 years left on that lease. It might make sense to shift gears and move our headquarters to Denison, and where all my family is. And this is kind of, you never know. I mean, what ifs? Life is short. So yeah, so we started looking for property in downtown Denison and working with you guys in the city. And we were able to secure a space. I think we signed the lease in like July with Don Day, who was phenomenal to work with, by the way. Like, his whole team was exceptional. I've now worked with other contractors and other landlords, and I'm like, we had it so easy here, like so easy. He really did make the process.
That's great.
It was great. Yeah, we ended up opening December 7th. I mean, it was 6 months, and this was an empty shell. I mean, they did all of it.
So he has this huge bank building that's 2 stories.
Yeah.
And so there's a tenant upstairs, but the whole downstairs is vacant.
Yeah.
Basically, he gutted it.
Yeah.
And so you were his first tenant downstairs, I think, to sign on.
Yeah.
And so he made it what you needed it to be. And this place we're in now is the Vault.
Yeah.
It's a private dining
Mhm.
room.
Yeah.
So you have that for special events?
Yep, special events or reservation if you want to meet a group of girls or do some kind of brunch. We've done, private parties. We'll roll a different bar back here. We can do separate music. I mean, the whole place is you can convert it to kind of whatever you'd like, but it's very Instagrammable. So
Yeah,
great for
that's a good
photos.
good
Mhm.
description of it. Well, it's certainly there's a vibe to it. I was
Mhm.
thinking as I came in, there's just a vibe when you walk in the door. And so, did you do all the interior design as well?
I did. Yes,
Yeah, you've got many talents.
Oh, thank you. You were none of my other partners in the past would say that. I think I have so much passion for this, and everything about it is who I am as a person. So although this design and works really well for this, I don't know that I would be someone you'd want to hire for your home interior decorating. But yeah, no, thank you for the compliment. It's been really fun. I like the Vault. I tell people is like if I died and went to heaven, like my world would look like this. It would be sparkly and beautiful and girly and fun. And I think that so much of the restaurant industry is dominated by males, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that also comes with what men like versus what women want. And so I think that comfortable seating and clean environment and bathroom. There's so many things that we as women really want in a dining experience. And so I try to prioritize that, with the restaurants I've been involved in or now own. And so, yeah, I think it's a pretty enjoyable experience when you dine with us.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the restrooms. Why don't you tell them a little bit about your restrooms?
Well, we have chairs to sit in, but we have customized deviled egg wallpaper and backlit mirrors for when you do have to do your makeup, and very comfortable everything. They're cute.
So is it a certain color of wallpaper?
Pink, a hot pink, and then the men's is like an electric blue purple. It's very cool. So my sister and I put that wallpaper up ourselves. We actually did this wall as well. So, we learned some interior decorating hacks while we were building this out. But,
yeah. Well, the environment is a bank vault, and it's a rather large vault.
Yeah.
But it's just wonderful to see, the changes to it and the changes to this space, and it's, just making something new out of a space. And at its best. And so we're grateful. I am extremely sad that you had to go through cancer, but I'm glad that the results had you coming to Denison, because it's been just great for our downtown, and I hope for your family as well.
Yeah, it's been great. I've really been happy to be down here. So
yeah,
can't be 80 degrees in February and March either.
So your husband's pretty supportive too of your business.
He's peeled more eggs than any human, more than me at this point. So yeah, he's we always say I am a helium-filled balloon and he's holding onto the string. He's literally a risk analyst. Like that's what he does. So when I was like, honey, I want to start a company and only sell deviled eggs. It's going to be amazing, and we just have to drain our life savings and sell our house. And he's like, okay, like wait a second, but yeah, I mean, he wants me to be happy and he wants us to be successful. And so whatever it takes, whether it's literally doing dishes or plumbing, I mean, whatever comes up, there's never been a time where he's said no. He's been there to help, and yeah.
Moving to Texas.
Yeah, that was a thing. There was the whole moving, 600 miles away. So yeah,
he's a sport.
He is a sport. That's a good way to put it. I think he knows I'd be, yeah. There's no telling me no when I have my mind set to something, I think. So he was just like, here we go.
He's rolling with it.
He's like, I can't fight it. So
just make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so let's go back to the vibe of this place. You've got big TVs at the bar, and you've sometimes got like underwater scenes and soothing music. I'm told that some people request sports be on the screen, so you've got that too. But and earlier you mentioned about your mixology, so you have a cocktail bar.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that a little bit.
So, so I've been, I have passion for craft mixology. And so here we specialize in a lot of martinis, very pretty drinks with, garnishes and all that. I mean, everything I do, you want it to be Instagrammable. People eat with their eyes, they drink with their eyes. So I think that, when something is set in front of you, it should be just as exciting visually as it tastes. And so we really, go by those guidelines with every part of the restaurant. Cocktails are amazing. My favorite one on the menu is the Something Magical, which is a florally purple gin. And then it's got Saint Germain, which is like an elderflower liqueur with fresh lemon juice, and it's shaken and strained, and it comes with rock candy. It's really, really pretty and tasty. We do, we have a great house old fashioned. We have your standards, bee's knees, things like that. But our cocktails are, we've got a Rachel it's been called a lot of things. It's a cocktail that I've always had on my menus everywhere I've, been involved in, and finally just started calling it the Rachel now that I have a restaurant or a couple restaurants. But that one's, it's like being on a beach. So you've got grapefruit liqueur, peach vodka. It's got lemon, fresh lime juice, lemon juice, pineapple, orange. And then it's topped with gummy bears, like a skewer of gummy bears. So really cute, really fun. And it'll just kind of bring you to, that island resort that you visited last, winter. So that's a really great drink too. And then there's just fresh mojitos. Always have fresh mint on hand. But yeah, we have a full bar. So there's wine and beer. We don't try to compete with places like Landon. We have just kind of some house options there for wine. But if there's a cocktail that you want, we can probably recreate it or find out a recipe and make it for you. So, and our staff enjoys making fun drinks. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then your food. So you've got the deviled eggs, and that comes 3 to a tray.
Yep. So we call them rolls. So we kind of took on the vibe of like a sushi restaurant when we started this. We didn't really know how else to conceptualize it so that people would understand what this is, since we're the first to really ever do this. So we call them rolls. It means you get 3 halves, 3 deviled eggs per roll. So it'll come out on this tray, and you'll get, all the flavors will be lined up on that to share. Just like if you've got a boat of sushi at a sushi restaurant, they're going to come in rolls with multiple pieces. And so, yes, you can get them in rolls. We have 20 flavors on our menu, and then one that rotates all the time. And then we do a surprise feature on a weekly basis too. So like this week's surprise, or our monthly flavor, is our Reuben deviled egg in spirit of St. Patty's Day for the month. And then last week's surprise feature was a Mac Daddy, which was a Big Mac deviled egg. That was really popular. And then this week we did a Nashville hot chicken egg. So that one's available through Sunday. And then we do our TikTok lives, and we announce new flavors every week just to keep it exciting. But yeah, you can deep fry the eggs too. You can upgrade to deep fry. So we'll take the whites and we'll batter them in panko and fry them. And then it gets more filling and more toppings. And it's like a whole new food group. If you haven't had, and just so you know, these aren't your grandma's deviled eggs. If you have not had our deviled eggs, you haven't lived yet. Like every single egg is hand peeled. You can ask our staff. It's very important they're hand peeled because they're just fresher that way. If you order eggs peeled from a distributor, they're going to come in either a gas or a chemical preservative, which keeps the shelf life a lot longer, up to 70 days. And they just aren't as good. So we take the extra step to peel them ourselves. We do between 5,000 and 10,000 a week between our 2 stores. So we have it down to a science. And then after that, once we separate the yolks from the whites, we make 20 different yolk filling mixtures. So we're constantly mixing up these different recipes to tailor each egg to taste just like that food we say. So we have a cheeseburger on the menu. We have a crab rangoon. We've literally mixed things in those yolks that should mimic the flavors of your favorite foods. And then we top them too to complement those yolks. So you should be able to essentially eat 5 of your favorite foods all on one little plate. It's a great little sampling, and it's relatively healthy. So
yeah, it's beyond me how you know all that you know to create those eggs that mimic crab rangoon. And I've tried the crab rangoon, and it is very good. Now the salmon egg is my favorite,
Yeah.
and it all comes back to I have to eat healthy, and so for lunch I also have to monitor my intake and kind of control it, and so the role of 3 eggs is just right to take the hunger off, and so that's been really popular for me. But you also have flatbreads.
Yep. So we do all of the rest of our menu. We have things other than eggs. So we do from scratch appetizers and flatbreads. We have things like we have an Italian flatbread. We do a crab rangoon flatbread, a spinach chicken and artichoke flatbread. That one's phenomenal. And then we have cheese and pepperoni and things that are a little more familiar flavors. And then we have amazing appetizers. So the thought is you come in, you order drinks, you order different kind of tapas, like Americanized tapas, but deviled egg style. So everybody orders something, everybody shares. You're obviously welcome to order one of the menu items as a full meal for yourself, but we have things like deviled crab cakes. We have steak bites on our menu. We've got goat cheese balls that are really, really popular, artichoke dip. So there's much more beyond eggs. If you're with someone who maybe isn't fond of them or isn't fully a believer yet, you can get them in here and try some of the other food. We get great reviews all the time, and everything's still made from scratch. So we don't skimp on the appetizers either, which is good.
I would recommend that you come with a friend and have them try 3 different or even more, and then you can share and get a taste of a variety because all of them are phenomenal.
Yep. And on Tuesdays, we do half of our menu is half off all day on Tuesday too. So anything in blue on the menu, you can come in. If you're apprehensive and you don't know, really what to expect, even after watching this, that's a great day to come in. So you get 3 full deviled eggs loaded up for $3.25, which is a great deal, like a smoking deal.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that it's one of the more affordable lunches that I can have. So it's also that.
Yeah, it's great. And then when you talked about nutrition, we're just finishing up all of our nutrition facts on all of our eggs. And like our Cali roll, which tastes just like a Sushi de California roll, they're about 35 calories a piece, and they're like 6 grams of protein each. So it's really, when you think of 6 deviled eggs would be more than filling. I mean, you're not even 200 calories, right? 200, under 250.
So are you putting that on your menus?
We will. We probably won't print them. It'll be online, so you can see if you want to. You can order online for pickup. So we'll have all the information available there. Because the size of the eggs ranges, sometimes we have to make sure that we have our ranges accurate before we post them.
Yeah.
But the average egg, and you have to remember some of these, like a cheeseburger, are loaded up with beef and meat and ketchup and things like that. So our average calorie per egg is about 60 calories. But yeah, and if you want to bring a friend in, and you don't want to commit to like a roll of each egg, we do a try them all platter. So it's one of every single flavor, and the eggs are big enough to cut in half and share. I mean, you're able to, they're not small by any means. We get the large eggs.
That's great. Yeah. So let's talk about your expansion and your growth of your business.
Sure. So we were able to secure a space in downtown McKinney on the square, and that was a connection through Don, through our landlord here. And he's, if you know downtown Denison, Don had a huge impact on all of the development in McKinney. And
it's about 45 minutes south.
Yep. So it was just a little like 900 square foot space that was formerly Rye. I had never eaten there before, but it's been vacant for about 1.5 years. But the owner's is privately owned, and we were able to get that one up and open so that we can test out that to-go model franchise concept. So ultimately, we'd like to have a lot of deviled egg companies all over, but we need to test and figure out how that's all going to work. So we opened that in July, and that's been going really well. And then we've been looking at other locations since then. And in the Dallas area, market's tougher there for sure. You don't realize how good you've got it in a smaller town until you're like trying to get answers from people or get a lease signed in a Highland Park area. I mean, it's like you got a list of people waiting to get on some of those prime areas. So we think we're really close to getting a lease signed in Rockwall at the harbor. Found a great spot there. and then another spot in Flower Mound. That would be perfect. And if we get those both signed, the Flower Mound one would be the one that would open the quickest. So, and then by the end of the year, we'd like to have 5 of those to-goes operating, and then either decide if we're going to franchise in 26 or if we're just going to keep expanding corporately. So we have a lot of inquiries for franchising, but that's a whole nother animal that I know nothing about. So we would maybe want to bring a partner in that understands franchising a little bit better, and not waste our money and time figuring it out ourselves. Because yeah, I know what I know, and it's eggs. It's not real estate, and it's not franchising. So yeah.
So tell about the online ordering and the shipping.
Sure. Yep. So we just relaunched our nationwide shipping. So I had mentioned we moved our headquarters from Omaha to Denison, and our lease ended this last December. So they were still both operating simultaneously. But when that lease ended, we've moved kind of everything down to Denison. And so we're able to focus again on getting shipping going. So we relaunched that. That all happens out of our Denison location. It's going well. We're just about to start really putting some momentum into marketing online for Easter. And it's going good. You can go online. You can order. We call them deviled egg kits. So you would get either 24 or 36 deviled egg white halves in packaging, and then it comes with different flavors. Our different flavors of yolk filling already fixed with piping tips, decorative piping tips, and then all toppings and a QR code with a video that shows you how to do it. So it takes about 5 minutes. You just need a pair of scissors, and when they get to your door, you can either make them right then or put them in your fridge and make them, for your party or your event that weekend. So you fill them, you top them, you can put them in your own trays. It's a really fun process. My niece and nephew love it. We just did a photo shoot yesterday, and I just let the kids, I was like, here, I just gave it to them, and I said, figure this out. And I mean, they're 6 and 10. And they did. They put it all together. They had so much fun doing it. So it's a really great gift for family, perfect for the holidays. With Mother's Day around the corner, it's something it's nostalgic, it's delicious, and it's something you can buy that person that you can't seem to find anything for. And it's healthier than sending like a cupcake or cookies or something like that. We get that a lot. Like, I want to send my parents something, but I don't want to send them a cake. So yeah, we do that. We ship our egg salads as well. So if you didn't know, we do all of our flavors of deviled eggs and egg salads as well. We do them by 4 ounces, 12, 8, and 12, or in 16. And we layer them in our jars, kind of like a parfait. So you're gonna get the fresh egg whites, whatever that yolk flavor is, and then all toppings. And they're really pretty, and they're delicious. They're great for dips. You can put them on bagels, sandwiches, kind of just eat it right out of the jar if you're like me. So we do that. You can find all of those products online for shipping or in-store pickup. So you can go online today. You could pre-order your Easter eggs, for the day of Easter to pick up. Just pick your pickup day and your pickup time, and we'll have them ready at whatever location you choose to pick them up at. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really great. Mm-hmm. And I would assume that everybody knows about it that's in Denison, but if they don't, they need to hurry on down and try out the Deviled Egg Co.
Yes, come see us.
And meet Rachel. You're here a lot, but it sounds like the guys at the bar in Omaha are like you really had a relationship with them.
Yeah.
And I guess you would have to tell them, no, you just eat this and try it, and then they would give you that feedback.
You hush up and tell me what you think. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I should go into that. I should go visit Omaha and go say hi to them. I'm sure they're all sitting in the same seat doing the same thing.
I bet they would like to see you.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long time. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, we are so glad to have you here in Denison, and that you're growing your business from here. And we like to see you thrive, and it's a great story. So
thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anything else you feel like we didn't cover? Okay.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to just spread the word a little bit.
Well, we love we call it the essence of downtown because it just gives us an opportunity to share the personalities and the knowledge behind our business owners, and we're so proud of them, and we're proud of you.
Thank you.
So Thank
Wouldn't
you.
have happened without you guys. You made it easy. If you are someone who's interested in starting a business and has no idea where to start with the city of, Denison. Where exactly? I'm trying to think of where we started. We went through all kinds of different, there were so many avenues of support here that, if you don't know, somebody does know, and there's support. And if you don't know where to start, come see me, and I'm happy to, mentor and guide you in the right direction. So
yeah, we many people start with our office, the Main Street Department, of course, if you want to locate downtown. And then some people start with Tony Kai, the Denison Development Alliance.
Yep.
And either of those, we share information and support the businesses and try to help, just get you through the process.
Yeah.
And
it can be daunting. It's overwhelming, for someone, any entrepreneur. You know where your passion is and where your strengths are, and typically it's not on the business side of things. And so to be able to have someone really kind of guide and hold your hand through that process, it made it tolerable and fun doing this. So it made the painful points less painful. So if you are interested, there are people that can help, and there's a lot of grant money and things like that you can look into. But
for destination businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you putting that in perspective, because we feel like we work with entrepreneurs and their specialty may not be going through that process. They're not developers. This is sometimes a one-time thing, and we like to make it as painless as possible, and to get them in business so they can start making money.
Exactly. So everyone here is truly here to help. That whole process is hard, but it is worth it, and it's rewarding to be your own boss. So if you're thinking about it, like I said, I'm a helium-filled balloon. Like, just do it, jump. You should. But downtown Denison is a great community. So I would highly recommend moving forward with it. I don't know. I wasn't paid to say that. I really mean that.
These are non-paid performers. They are business owners.
Yeah, I speak from experience.
Well, we appreciate you being with us today and taking time to talk and share your story. And that's a wrap for another Essence of Downtown podcast.